All right, let's talk about Crimson Desert. Today, we're digging into everything PlayStation 5 players need to know about this massive upcoming action adventure from Pearl Abyss. We're going to get you totally up to speed on what you can expect.
So let's just jump right in, because for a game this hyped, it really all boils down to a few key things for the PS5 crowd, right? Are we getting that sweet, sweet 60 frames per second? What kind of graphics options are we gonna have to choose from? And maybe most importantly, is that release date actually set in stone? Well, that's exactly what we're here to figure out.
And you know what? We're not going to make you wait for the good stuff. Let's just get the most important info out on the table right now so you know exactly what you're in for. Okay, first up, the big one, the release date. Right now, it is penciled in for March 19th, 2026. Go ahead and circle that on your calendar. And yeah, that's for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and of course, PC. Now, this next part is really important. Just to clear up any confusion, we need to be clear about what this game is. You see, it might have started with some roots connected to Black Desert Online, but it has totally evolved. Crimson Desert is now its own thing, a standalone, single-player-focused action-adventure. It is not an MMO.
All right, let's move on to the big decision you're gonna have to make pretty much the second you boot up the game. And that's the classic trade-off. Do you want super smooth performance, or do you want absolutely stunning visuals?
And here it is, the split we see in almost every big console game these days. You've got your performance mode, which is all about hitting that buttery smooth 60 frames per second, perfect for when combat gets hectic and you need that instant response. Then, on the other side, you have quality mode. This one locks things at 30 FPS so it can throw all the console's power into pushing the visuals. We're talking higher resolution, denser environments, and even ray tracing. And you can really see that trade-off right here. I mean, look at the quality mode on the left. The detail is just richer, the shadows are more complex, the textures just pop and make the world feel alive. But then you look at performance mode on the right, and while it streamlines some of that eye candy, it does it for one reason: to keep that frame rate locked and stable. You know, this brings up a really great tip. The advice here is to start out in performance mode. When you're trying to nail those parry timings and get your dodges just right, that 60 FPS responsiveness is going to be your best friend. But then, once you've got a feel for the combat, you can just flip over to quality mode when you're exploring or just want to soak in the incredible world during a big story moment. But look, the PS5 experience is about so much more than just what you see on the screen. The console has some unique hardware under the hood, from that ridiculously fast SSD to the DualSense controller. And those things are going to change how this game actually feels to play. In a huge open-world game like Crimson Desert, the SSD is a total game changer, seriously. And it's not just about getting through loading screens faster. Think about it, it's about getting back into the action instantly after you die in a tough boss fight, keeping you in the zone. It's about being able to race across the world on your mount with absolutely zero stutter or objects popping in out of nowhere. It's seamless.
And of course, you can't have a conversation about the PS5 without talking about the DualSense controller. This is where the magic happens, where developers can really make you feel connected to the world through the sense of touch.
I mean, just imagine actually feeling the tension build in the triggers as you draw back a bowstring, or feeling the heavy resistance when you charge up a massive weapon swing. With haptics, you could feel the ground change from soft mud to hard stone under your feet, or even feel the intensity of the rain. It could even give you cues in combat, letting you feel which direction you got hit from. That's the kind of stuff that makes an experience feel truly next-gen. Okay, finally, let's talk about the launch itself, because it's really important to have some realistic expectations for what launch day actually means for a huge AAA game these days.
So this is a question that still pops up a lot, especially for people who haven't made that leap to the new consoles yet. So let's just tackle this one head on.
The answer, based on everything we know, is a pretty clear no. Crimson Desert is not planned for the PS4. The game is just too technically ambitious. When you think about that seamless open world and how much strain that puts on the CPU, it's pretty obvious this game is being built from the ground up for the power of current-gen hardware like the PS5. It's also just good to remember that a game's release is really just the beginning of the journey. You should 100% expect a day one patch to download alongside the game. That's going to have all the last-minute performance tweaks and bug fixes. Those graphics modes are often being finalized right up until the last minute, and you'll almost certainly see more stability patches roll out in the first few weeks. It's just how it is.
So we've gone over the release date, the performance modes, and all the cool PS5 specific features. let's just wrap it all up with the key things you need to remember as we get closer and closer to launch.
So here's the bottom line. Get your calendar ready for March 2026 for a massive, standalone action-adventure game. The biggest choice you'll have to make is between that 60 FPS performance mode and the 30 FPS quality mode. And you can expect those cool PS5 features like the SSD and DualSense to make a big difference. Oh, and remember, a PS4 version is just not in the cards. And really, all of this leaves you with one big question to think about. When you finally get your hands on Crimson Desert, what's it going to be? Will you go for the fluid, responsive feel of combat, or will you choose the absolutely breathtaking, cinematic detail of its world? The choice, in the end, is all yours.